All right, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are completely flipping the script on literally everything you've probably been told about achieving success. Look, we live in an era that is all about self-care, right? It's all mindfulness, work-life balance, and finding your center. But what if the actual boots-on-the-ground reality of becoming a global superstar completely contradicts all of that? Well, today, we're unpacking a really raw, unapologetic philosophy straight from the mindset of one of the most successful entertainers on the planet, King Khan. We are looking at a blueprint for success that actively rejects comfort. It embraces constant tension. It's intense, it's totally uncompromising, and you know what? It starts with a complete and utter rejection of modern wellness. So, let's kick things off with a quote that immediately shatters our usual expectations. There is nothing like healthy living, good living, if you want to be successful. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. We are constantly bombarded with the message that prioritizing our health and well-being is the absolute foundation of a successful life. But the source material we're analyzing today, it calls that out as a complete myth. If you want to reach the absolute pinnacle of your field, this philosophy argues that you have to take the whole concept of healthy living and just throw it right out the window.
The contrast between what we're told and what it actually takes it's stark. On one hand, you have the normal advice, the things they teach you in a 5-star hotel spa. Get your 8 hours of sleep, relax, put some cucumbers on your eyes, and hey, it sounds lovely, doesn't it? But then you look at the reality of extreme success, and it demands unending tension. It literally demands that you stop obsessing over your food, that you actively invite stress, and even accept having blood pressure issues. The core argument here is that the soothing cucumber on the eyes vibe, that's going to get you absolutely nowhere if your goal is world-beating success.
So, you're probably wondering, how does this extreme approach translate to our most basic human need, sleep? Well, the magic number here is 5. Exactly 5 hours. That is the absolute maximum number of hours of sleep permitted in this operational protocol. And we aren't talking about 5 hours as an occasional necessity during crunch week. No, we are talking about 5 hours as a hard, permanent ceiling. You sleep for 5 hours, and the second you wake up, you are immediately and fully awake, ready to attack the day.
And it gets crazier, because this lack of sleep eventually builds into a real physiological change. As noted in our source, the speaker says, anything longer gives me a headache and makes me feel puffy and strange. I mean, wow. The body and the mind become so deeply hardwired for constant momentum that normal rest actually starts to feel toxic. When you operate at this terrifyingly high level of ambition, sleeping in doesn't make you feel refreshed, it physically hurts. Your body just adapts to reject the very rest it technically needs, basically pushing you right back out into the grind.
Section 1. The Anti-Wellness Mantra. Okay, take the first-class rule for example. Never recline the bed. Picture this. You've achieved the level of success where you regularly travel in international first class. You have the lay-flat bed, right? The ultimate symbol of luxury, the proof that you've made it. But the rule here is that you deliberately refuse to recline it. You sit up. You stay alert. You actively deny yourself the comfort that is literally built right into your environment, because getting too comfortable is step 1 toward losing your hunger.
This brings us to a crucial point, captured perfectly in this incredibly honest truth from our source. You cannot be restful and at peace if you want to be successful. It is a zero-sum game, folks. You can choose inner peace, or you can choose extreme, unparalleled success, but you cannot have both. They are fundamentally incompatible forces. If you are peaceful, you're stagnant. If you are successful, you are in constant motion.
Section 2. Sacrifice to succeed. To really understand what paying this personal toll looks like, we've got to look at this historical phrase mentioned in the text, Aram Haram Hai, which basically translates to rest is a sin. Now, in this context, it's not just some catchy motivational poster you'd hang in a startup office. It's a literal, daily operational protocol. It means actively eliminating unnecessary sleep. It means stripping away the human obsession with enjoying food and drink. Actually, scratch that. Rest isn't just viewed as unproductive here, it's viewed as an active threat to your survival and your greatness.
And what exactly are you sacrificing? Well, it's not just bad habits. You are ruthlessly abandoning totally normal, healthy, grounding activities. Playing video games, spending relaxed time with your kids, writing poetry, reading books, literally the things that make life enjoyable for most people. If you want to maintain a dominant competitive edge, these are the heavy prices you pay. You sacrifice the mundane joys of a normal life, period.
But wait, here is the shocking paradox at the center of this entire philosophy. The speaker admits, I am very lazy. I don't like to work. Now, you'd probably assume that a person operating with this relentless, punishing work ethic is just naturally wired to be a workaholic, right? But the source material reveals the exact opposite. The natural inclination is to be lazy, to want to relax, to want to read those books and play those games.
And this brilliant contradiction completely extends to the physical realm too. The speaker admits to absolutely hating working out, yet they still grind daily, sacrificing their comfort to build and maintain a six-pack. Think about the massive, almost unimaginable daily willpower that takes. To wake up after 4 or 5 hours of sleep, actively fight your own lazy nature, and push your body through physical training that you genuinely despise, all simply because the goal demands it.
Section 3. Embrace pain and restlessness. If you are going down this path, say hello to your new best friends. Unending tension, constant pain and sorrow. You do not take a sick day. If you have a fever, you work through it. Severe cold, ignore it. Slowing down to heal is simply not an option in this playbook. You literally have to invite the distress, the sickness, and the exhaustion inside and let it ride right alongside you.
And why? Why put yourself through all that? Because of one ironclad piece of logic. Pain eventually leaves, but success does not wait. Physical ailments, a headache, a fever, an aching muscle, those are all temporary states. But the window of opportunity to achieve monumental success, that is incredibly narrow. If you delay your goals to nurse a temporary pain, that success will simply move on to someone else who was willing to suffer for it.
This creates a really fascinating psychological divide. The normal mindset says, hey, life is beyond work. Take it easy, just relax. And according to our source, that's perfectly fine if you don't want to be successful. But the obsessive mindset looks at that normal life with a complex mix of emotions. The speaker actually admits to feeling envious, even jealous, of people who can just relax, people who don't carry the heavy burden of wanting to be successful. It's a lonely realization that normalcy is a luxury you can no longer afford.
Which brings us to the ultimate concluding thesis of this entire philosophy. Success will not come unless you are completely restless. High-octane agitation isn't a side effect of success, guys. It is the fuel. If you're settled, if you're content, if you're well-rested, you're failing. To climb to the absolute top and actually stay there, you have to be in a permanent state of hungry, driving restlessness.
So we are left with a stark reality here. The path to greatness laid out in this rulebook is terrifying, it is exhausting, and it is entirely devoid of the comforts we are constantly taught to crave. Success doesn't wait for you to catch your breath. The blueprint is clear, but the cost, it's astronomical. The only question left to ask yourself is, are you actually willing to pay the extreme price? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.